An uplifting campaign that brings together the environment, empowerment and justice. It's a topic that's very close to my heart, and I'll explain why in a moment. Stretching the width of Africa, the Great Green Wall is a barrier against desertification. Once complete, it will be the largest living structure on the planet. Now, the Julia Tree Initiative has a challenge, and that's to plant and nurture 1 million trees along the wall. Inspired by the legend of St. Valentine, they act as a symbol of enduring love. Take a look.
Heartbroken by Valentine's execution, Julia plants a seedling as a testimony to their eternal love.
As you'll hear, this project goes beyond helping the economy and the environment ecosystem, as important as they are. It's also for the education of girls, empowerment for women and racial justice worldwide. And it is my huge honour to be an ambassador for the initiative. Now, one of the forces behind this project is Mpho Tutu van Furth. She's the Executive Director and co-founder of the Tutu Teach Foundation and is also the daughter of Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who is a patron of the initiative. Mpho, fantastic to have you on the show. I am so excited, can I just say, to be part of this. I think we should start just by explaining what the Great Green Wall is and how it's already helping.
Well, the Great Green Wall is an initiative of the African Union, and it is to be a wall of trees, growing trees that spread across the Sahel and the northern dry rim of Africa, as well as now into the southern African drylands. When the wall is realized, it will be more than 8,000 kilometers or 5,000 miles long across the whole of Africa, going from west to east or east to west.
And it's about building out the ecosystem, giving farmers the chance to feed their families, to produce a living. And also part of this as well is, as I mentioned, the education of women in some of these communities, which I know you're incredibly passionate about too.
I am. As you say, it is absolutely a way to combat desertification and the consequences of desertification, which have been visited very heavily on women and on children. And so this Great Green Wall will grow trees, grow fruiting trees across Africa to combat the effects of desertification. And we know that it is indeed an African problem and an African solution to an African problem, but it's also an African solution to a global problem.
Yes.
Climate change doesn't just affect Africa, it actually affects the whole world. To plant fruiting trees across this rim of Africa will provide jobs for women, will enable girls to go to school, will stop the scourge of migration as people flee in search of better work and of a better life for themselves and for their families. We are working together with Hope Initiatives International and Orgis, which is an organization for indigenous initiatives and sustainability in Ghana, to actually grow these trees. And as you know, a tree may not take that much to plant, but it takes 5 to 15 years before most of the indigenous trees are providing fruit, are fruiting. And so the initiative isn't just about planting trees, but it's actually growing trees and growing communities as we are able to put people to work on that sustainable job of growing this forest.
And it's going to take time. And actually, as part, and you've sort of mentioned it, the Julia Tree Challenge, and I mentioned it too, is planting 1 million trees. And planting season is July, August time, so we have to get cracking on this. But what I really loved about this was the story behind it and why we're doing this around Valentine's Day and the sort of untold story of the relationship between Valentine and Julia. Mpho, just give us a sense of that too, because this is also on the website that people can watch and understand.
Yes, so we are absolutely delighted to have you, Julia, as our ambassador. And we asked you to be our ambassador for two reasons. One, because you're absolutely wonderful and a great example of women's empowerment. But two, because of you were blessed with the name Julia. And Julia was the blind daughter of Valentine's jailer. And the jailer asked Valentine to bless his daughter and then asked Valentine to be her teacher. And we don't know how long that teaching relationship continued, but when Valentine was scheduled for execution, he scrawled a note to Julia and signed it from your Valentine, and thus launched 1,000 love messages throughout the ages. And Julia, in her heartbreak, planted a tree at Valentine's gravesite, a flowering almond tree at Valentine's gravesite, and so launched an initiative that will grow 1 million trees across the Sahel.
I love it. And I loved it from the first moment that I heard it. And I'm grateful to be asked to do this. I'm also grateful to my parents as well for naming me Julia, which is an uncanny coincidence. Fabulous. We love that. And it's $10 to plant a tree. And in my world, Valentine's Day is every day. You don't have to wait for one day of the year. So we have to get cracking, and we just hope people will understand how incredible this is, how important it is, to your point, not just for the region that we're trying to replant, but also for the entire nation, because we understand that sustainability, climate change is something that we all have to take ownership of.
Absolutely. And as you say, Valentine's Day may be one day of the year, but love is something that we need to underline and celebrate every day of the year. And this is a way of celebrating love that continues to give into the future.
Couldn't have said it better myself, so I'm glad I had you here to do it. Big heart to you, and I wore my red shirt especially. And I will tweet out all the details so people get a sense of this, but it's just the beginning. Mpho, great to have you with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm excited to begin.